One, so I can call the meeting to order. First item we have tonight is approval of minutes of April 2nd, 2026. Does anybody have any edits, updates, corrections?
None here.
Nothing? Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of April 2nd, 2026?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Rubik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary-Glowski, all right, we'll move on to Smith,
Yes.
Passmano.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, first up is public hearing, 7 p.m. Request for determination of applicability, 22 Turnpike Road. In accordance with Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, April 30, 2026 at 7 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a request for determination of applicability for a project located on 22 Turnpike Road, map 39, lot 29, the applicant and owner, Michael Hightower, Southborough Golf Realty. The project description is installation of a shed for the driving range.
Yes, so we have the owner here, but I can give an overview. So this is just a small 15 by 11 shed outside of the 20-foot buffer zone within existing kind of maintained area of the golf course or driving range. Pretty minor in scope, no real excavation. Just kind of going through the process, just needs a little bit more room to store equipment, is my understanding, and Michael can add anything else if he has anything else to add.
Can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, Michael, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Yeah, you're off mute, but your microphone must not be working. I can bring up the plan if the commission would like. I also put on this morning just a quick aerial shot of the property and just a highlighted area of where the shed is going. I think most of us are familiar with the property from recent permitting before it got sold. So I didn't have any concerns of the location or anything like that.
Are you gonna bring it up or no?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It's the only thing that is incorrect on this plan. It's labeled 25-foot wetland buffer and it just should say 20. But the setbacks numbers are correct.
Okay.
And then this is kind of the aerial. So this is the common drive is up here. The
Yeah,
parking
where's the
area-
putting green?
I think that's in this area.
Okay, and the shed's going where? That
Shed's
purple
going
thing?
right with this purple thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, I see. Okay. And how will they access it?
Just from the parking lot.
Oh, okay. Any excavation or just on top of the ground?
I believe, if I remember correctly, it's either on cinder blocks or they might put just concrete footings, but that would be the extent of it. It is pretty, you can see in here, it's pretty flat right at this edge, so
Okay.
nothing too crazy.
Do you have any questions?
No,
the
seems
applicant-
straightforward to me.
Okay. So this is an RDA.
Mhm.
So
I would.
I'm thinking negative determination.
Mhm.
And what others are thinking.
I'm with you on that.
Agreed.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion.
Do you want to
Uh,
just ask the public real quick? Because technically this is a
Oh,
hearing.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yep. So for this application, is anybody from the public that would like to ask questions, make comments? If you want to, please raise your hand and Melissa will let you in.
Nothing.
Okay, then.
so I, motion to, issue a, negative determination of applicability, with nothing other than standard conditions.
Second?
All in favor?
Ehrlich,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbaroski,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Osmano.
Yes.
All right. Michael, I'm sorry we couldn't get you on here, but it's a good vote, so I'll email you over the permit, and whenever you want to submit building permit, I'll see that come through, and I'll be ready for sign off. So you're good to go. Thanks.
Okay, I have 3 minutes. Can we do the request for certificate of compliance for DEP number 290-1123?
Sure. I do think there is someone in the audience for this, actually.
I see a hand raised.
Yep. One second. Load him over.
Alrighty. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty. Good evening, guys. My name is Michael Schmidt. I'm a wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting, here on behalf of the applicant, Sarah Schmidt, for the request for a certificate of compliance for the project at 170 Woodland Road, over in Borough. The project consisted of the installation of a new pool, with an associated patio, a walkway, a pavilion, and the revision of the existing fencing and retaining wall on site to pull it out of the jurisdictional 20-foot no disturb buffer that you guys have. Following our submittal for the request for the certificate of compliance, we also got the comment letter from Lucas Environmental, with some additional items that we wanted to address. They had seen it was a PVC pipe that was coming out from the pool deck. We had gone back to the builder and discussed with them to see what that was, and found out that it's just drainage for that pool deck. That was just kind of emitting out towards the wetland system, which wasn't great. So we got them to install a dry well, and pull out that pipe instead. So that I can show you on our site plan where that is located. Am I allowed to share here?
You should be able to. If not, I think it sends me a request to share, which I'll look up for.
Here we go. I'm hoping to get a stamped as-built with the dry well on there. Currently, the location of the pipe is on there, but I'm still waiting for that final plan from them. But let's see here. Alrighty. Where did that go? You see this? Are you able to see the plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is where the pipe was. We had that pulled out, and we had it's like a flow well style plastic dry well installed there. And so that's getting routed into there now instead of running across the surface here. The issue that the reviewer had brought up was the pool filter, which wasn't on the original plan. That was just part of the pool design. What we had it sited as far away from the wetland system as possible. It's pretty much on the edge of the yard. It's kind of fenced in there. And it's a non-backwashing pool filter, which just gets washed right there once or twice a year, as opposed to needing to be backwashed frequently throughout the year. And it's pretty flat there, so it's not like it's washing across the land. It's probably all soaking into the grass. Other thing that they pointed out was the shed. The shed is still in place. They didn't end up moving it, so it's just in the original location that it was. And then another aspect of the project was the administrative approval of the trees, the tree removal that was requested midway through the project. There are 4 trees along the back here, which were approved for removal contingent on some restoration plantings, which were installed within the buffer zone in this location here and in this location here. And those are still doing well.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? From the commission?
Nope.
Nope. Anybody from the public?
Michael, when are you hoping to get the as-built stuff and kind of hoping to wrap this up with the rest of the documents?
I'm waiting on it. I'm hoping this week. I'm hoping tomorrow.
Okay.
I was hoping to get it today. I put in the request for the change earlier, and there was just an error on the plan. Some layers got tweaked. And so I'm just waiting for that to get fixed. But the plan should be ready to go. The data's there. I just need the plan.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So we don't have the final as-built?
Correct.
Oh, well, then we
So I
can't
think
issue
this is
the
just an
cert.
update, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I figured it'd be a good idea to get this all in front of you guys so that once that is ready, it's we can get it done.
All right, so we have to continue this the next meeting.
Alrighty.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, let me see, 710, notice of intent, stormwater management permit, 0 Southville Road. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the South Bay Wetlands Bylaw. Excuse me. And the provisions of the Southville Stormwater and Erosion Control Bylaw, Southville Town Code, Chapter 154. And the Southville Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, April 30, 2026 at 7:10 p.m. by a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider notice of intent for a project located at 0 Southville Road, map 5, lot 8 for the applicant Apartments at Southville Road, LLC. The project description is the construction of 2 apartment buildings and associated site work.
So I see the applicant here. I'm not sure if there's anyone else here for this item or if they're under them. There you go.
James.
Hi, I'm James Tatro from Expedited Engineering here, representing the Apartments at Southville Road LLC. And we actually are going to ask you for a continuance because we have several items to address per Melissa's email, but wanted to take this opportunity to discuss the riverfront issue while we're here, and to also ask, I think I sent Melissa an email. I was just curious. Lucas Environmental had sent a set of comments backdated March 12th, and said in that set of comments that they hadn't yet had the opportunity to view the site. At that time, that was at the end of our wonderful snow melt. And so I was just wondering if there were any further comments forthcoming from Lucas on behalf of the commission. That's just one question.
So James, I think what I was getting to in my email is we haven't sent back, the revised materials to Lucas yet, as we just got them. So there's nothing
Okay.
that they could have further reviewed since their
Okay.
last letter. And I think the point of my email was, if there are more changes coming that you already know about, I would rather wait for those so that we can send one complete document to Lucas so that they take less time overall in reviewing it. Obviously if things come up during the review and things have to change, that's one thing. But for now, if there are already things that are coming, it kind of seems like we'd rather see those in front of us before we have our peer review look at them if something's gonna be changed.
No, that makes sense. I just wondered if because again, point number one in their review back then had been, we haven't had the chance to take a look at the site, and I was just curious if there was a site visit and comments strictly on the basis of that had come out. That's all. So, okay. Well, I wanted to again just discuss in regard to the riverfront area issue. I think we had initially brought before you a delineation of median high water line and beginning of riverfront area that was not in accordance with the ORAD that was still in effect. So we replaced that on the plan now, and we believe there are 47,372 square feet of riverfront area on site, and that the regulations saying you've got, you can alter either 10% or 5,000 square feet, whichever is greater. In this case, 5,000 square feet is just slightly greater. And we looked at the structural drainage measures that are proposed. And I think we were pretty conservative with the width of what we took outside of, drain lines running to the infiltration system, et cetera. I think we end up with 4,500 and change square feet of riverfront area alteration, all of it in the outer riparian zone. And the big question we wanted to try and get some feedback from the commission on today was if there's any disagreement with that determination and that calculation. We understand from Melissa's comments earlier that there are a lot of I'll be kind to us and categorize them as minor things that we have to square away and get consistent. But that was really the biggest issue on the entire site. And we're hoping to get some sense of the sentiment of the commission in regard to that.
Well, I guess what I would say to that is, looking at our review consultants to provide some feedback on that. I'll just be candid. I always find it interesting that we're always just below the maximum amount of alteration that's allowed. So just because we're just below that, I'd like them, really have a review of that to make sure that, that is in fact the case. Right? You said, 5,000 is allowed, and you're at 45 and change, right? So
Correct.
It gets kind of close, right? So it all depends on where, the edge of impacts are, right? And where that's determined. So, it requires going on site and taking a look.
In this case, we're using the riverfront area boundaries from the ORAD, and I think it's more of a case in this instance of if there's agreement that where we're saying, hey, there's an allowance for accepting structural drainage measures. Are we reasonable in saying, hey, we're counting 6 feet total width 3 feet each side of this drain pipe, and we're counting, a few feet beyond the infiltration structure, and would the commission and the reviewer agree that those are reasonable numbers? And I think we've been reasonable about it, but we understand you'll have to have Lucas and.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it and
Okay.
discuss it.
Mark,
It'd be, premature and, providing any sort of direction at this point.
Mark, can I just ask a quick question of Melissa?
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa, so you uploaded the plans from the ORAD. The 2020 ANRAD plan submitted the engineer or surveyors Markadont. Does that show the disturbance that took place that led to our enforcement order? Is it shown on that 2020 plan?
It's shown partly in the sense that there's a tree line kind of, but I don't think it maybe encompasses everything that disturbance wise did happen.
Yeah, my recollection, and this is going back several years, so my recollection could be imperfect, but I thought there was more disturbance. Both there are two sort of main tree lines, a northern one and a southern one. I thought that middle area was more carved out when that disturbance happened, that we had to respond to. Did we ask them to prepare a plan showing the extent of that disturbance? Do you recall?
No,
Okay.
the only plan that we really have is just that ANRAD plan, and that's pretty much it. And we just had them put the orange construction fence at that 200-foot zone. Thinking back, it was, a pretty arced area in terms of space. I think when you're standing out there, it definitely feels pretty large, but it may not look as large as it feels on paper. And I think on paper, looking at the plans, it does seem to pretty closely resemble from what I remember back in the day. At least the generalized area. Yeah.
I guess I would say I'm very much on board with Mark. I think we need to have Joe out there to take a look. I mean, the disturbance was 6 or 7 years ago. There'll still be evidence of it, and we need Joe to be our eyes on the site. That's my only concern.
Fair enough. I was just going to add, I've got a copy in front of me here of a Markadont plan of November 6, 2020. And in addition to the tree line that Melissa mentions, it took me a while to figure it out, but it does have some other areas indicated as rubble pile, timber pile, and wood chip pile.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
It does have a little more info than just the tree line, but yeah.
Yeah, no, indeed. Just in terms of previously disturbed areas, my concern was that southern tree line. And Melissa's right. It obviously it can you can walk around the site and the impression you get doesn't necessarily match up, what you see when you actually get the thing surveyed. So Melissa brings up a valid point. But I would like to have, Joe's going to be visiting the site, and I would like to hear his take and hear his observations.
Okay. Well, and I guess rather than take up your time any further, I think we've got some work to do to clean up several issues as Melissa suggested in an email this morning. And to go further in clarifying the issue of the riverfront area, we have to have review by Lucas. And so I think we'll just ask to continue, and we'll go from here and try and get resolution on all those issues.
Okay, and Melissa, remind me, our next meeting is when?
It is May 14th, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So is that enough time for you to get your stuff cleaned up?
Yes, I believe so. We conferred on all those things this morning and about what time it would take, because Melissa had put in her email, hey, the next meeting's on May 14, and, make sure you can get it in then. So I believe we can, yes, sir.
Yeah, so materials need to be received, Melissa, when? 7 days ahead?
We like to do 7 days ahead. Obviously it's a short turnaround, so you submit them whenever, but I think it's very safe to say we won't have a review letter back by the 14th. So I don't know if that's something you guys want to take into consideration. Since, the substance of the plans, I think aren't going to be changing, but it's accumulation of things and just tightening things up. So if the applicant, maybe wants to wait until the June 4th meeting, then I think that gives us time. We will definitely have a review letter back.
I guess we'd like to try for May 14th, and if necessary,
Sure.
we'll ask for a continuance.
I just want to jump in. We've got a hand up in the audience.
Mark, you good if I let them speak?
Yeah, go ahead, let them in, yeah.
Please just state your name and address, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, hi, it's Freddie Gillespie, 78 Southville Road. I'm not sure who I'm signed in as, but my computer crashed, so. I understand there's a continuance, and don't want to waste your time, but it seems relevant because they submitted an alternative document, and I wanted to make a few comments on that, which would maybe change their updating or next submission for alternatives. This was dated, I think it was the 17th of April. Is it okay if I make a few quick comments on it? Try to be quick.
I guess I want clarity as to what that is.
They submitted an alternative
The alternatives analysis,
Analysis.
some of the revised docs that they sent for the riverfront area.
and some of that is not necessarily factually correct, what they're basing it on. And I just wanted to give both the applicant and the Conservation Commission an update or a heads up on where there may be relying on faulty information from my perspective.
So I have one more question. It's an alternatives analysis to working in the riverfront at all?
Through the chair,
Clarity.
we were asked to provide additional alternatives analysis, looking at other options for what could be done on site, not looking at off-site alternative properties.
It was so they could, why they need to utilize more of the riverfront area is my understanding. And this is their analysis of why they need to, because of, they needed to present alternatives. And this is what their review of those, inability to use those alternatives are reasons why they need to do the work they need to do. That's my reading of it. And I just wanted to make a few quick comments on it.
So hang on just 1 second. So it's an alternatives analysis with respect to the
riverfront area.
4,500 something square feet of riverfront impact. Is that correct?
Yes and no.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Any disturbance within the riverfront area, the applicants are required to provide an alternatives analysis demonstrating why the alternative they're proposing is the only one that will work. And we require this of all applicants proposing disturbance within the riverfront area. And it sounds like Freddie is suggesting that perhaps some of the excluded alternatives shouldn't have been excluded. Just reading between the lines,
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to understand if that's what we were talking about. So, good. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Freddie.
Okay, so I have 4 comments. One, they mention a portion of this riverfront area has been previously disturbed and is currently bare soil and dirt. That's likely part of the prior unauthorized clear cut and only relevant as it has to be restored, not as an exemption for previously disturbed area. And again, you said Lucas will be looking at that. Number 2, they list one potential alternative would be to relocate buildings closer to the street. This was deemed impractical for multiple reasons. First, parking would have to be relocated to the rear of the building. Well, per the MBTA Communities Act bylaw that was enacted by the town of Southborough, the parking must be located to the rear of the building unless they get a waiver from the planning board. That has not been discussed yet, and there is no indication that it will be approved. Additionally, even if the planning board were to approve that, the layout of it is in violation of other setback requirements. So it couldn't be built as utilized. So saying that they can't put the parking to the rear of the building when that's required, that's not a real alternative until they get planning board approval. 3, my third statement is the MBTA's Community Act is complicated, and their statement referencing that reducing the scale of the development would not allow the site to be fully utilized as intended under the Section 3A. That's misleading and misrepresents the requirement of the MBTA Communities Act. They're assuming that they have to have, or they're allowed to have 60 units there. Well, the Commonwealth recognized that lots included in the MBTA community districts would need to comply with all local and state laws on riverfront and wetland acts, as well as comply with the local zoning requirements for that district. Based on those restrictions, the Commonwealth determined the number of lots available to be built on that lot. And for this lot, the Commonwealth determined a unit capacity of 11.7 units per acre, or 46.8 units. To make up the difference, Southborough zoned other lots at 16 units an acre. I will write a more detailed analysis for the next hearing, but we note that just because they are credited at 46.8 units doesn't mean they get 46.8 units. It means that's what the Commonwealth gave us credit for. We had to zone other districts at more than 15 units an acre. So to say that if they don't get their 60 units, we're not meeting the MBTA communities bylaws, somewhat misleading. It's not their intent, and it's not what the town had to do to make this lot part of the district. So I just think that's important information to know. There is no 60 units intention for this lot. At the most, 46.8, and comply with all riverfront and wetlands and the local zoning, which is the parking in back and other zoning requirements. We note that they talk about a 100-foot riverfront buffer. We believe it's a 200-foot riverfront buffer that's required. And based on these MBTA communities, the requirements, we request the commission review this project like any other project in town to meet the Riverfront and Wetlands Protection Act requirements and not be giving extra, relief based on the fact that it's in the MBTA community. You know, we understand that it's zoned at 15 units an acre, but there was, by the Commonwealth itself, never envisioned that it would be able to meet that given the conditions of the site. Thank you.
So one thing is, we don't play favorites, right? So, we have to meet the Wetlands Protection Act, Riverfront Act, all those things that we're sitting on this board to uphold and protect. So, I just want to put that out there. We're not going to, bend rules. But Freddie, thank you for that information. That's all good information.
I'll be writing it up so you can have it and I can document where the zoning happened so that you will see that there was never an intention for this to be 15 units an acre.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
And Mark, this just occurs to me. Just want to throw it out there. It's sort of interesting. We are fairly routinely asked to step beyond our jurisdiction into matters of land use and zoning and so forth that we're not statutorily enabled to get involved with. It's outside of our jurisdiction. But in an instance where, for instance, in an alternatives analysis where an alternative, an applicant says an alternative is excluded because it doesn't comply with, in this case, it's not zoning, but the MBTA Communities Act, it puts us in an interesting position. Like, we kind of have to evaluate that statement. It would normally be outside our jurisdiction, but the applicant sort of brings it into our jurisdiction by using that as a basis for, claiming certain development changes wouldn't be allowed. This just occurred to me, and I'm throwing it out there. I want to give it some more thought.
It kind of comes down to what trumps what, right?
Yeah.
So, right.
If I might, through the chair, a larger part of our objection in regard to an on-site alternative of buildings by the road and parking away was that as it's proposed, with parking in front and prospective septic system underneath that, the 50-foot offset from septic system to the infiltration structure is effectively eaten up by the building itself. And if we, in effect, flip-flop the parking area and the septic system, now you've got a problem of proximity between the septic system and the infiltration. So it's not just an arbitrary thing on the applicant's part of setting it up this way. Oh, they'd rather have the parking in the front, just that's their subjective call. No, it actually works better with the required offsets of septic system and infiltration structures.
I think there is one more piece, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you need to get effectively a waiver from the planning board allowing the parking to go in front of the building rather than behind. They need to approve that change. I don't dispute anything else that obviously the 50-foot setback between the infiltration and the septic is a hard and fast rule that the Board of Health is unlikely to waive.
No. And Mr. Smith, and through the chair, our intention here tonight was to hopefully to get a closer fix on acceptability of what's proposed in the riverfront area. And we intend to file with the planning board and have that process started perhaps before your process has finished. And then the commission would know that waiver is to be issued.
I think the issuance of that waiver is really bears heavily on our work as the Conservation Commission. Just one commissioner's opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ben, on that we're not going to be able to close on this one way or the other, given outstanding potential waivers that may or may not be issued.
We acknowledge that.
Mark, Freddie did raise her hand again when you are ready for comments.
Yeah, go ahead, let her in.
Freddie, you should be able to mute.
I think I am. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's not my computer, so bear with me. Thank you.
It says administrator.
I just wanted to, and I know that there's zoning is not Conservation Commission review work, and I wouldn't have brought this up except for it was in their alternative analysis. And I need to say that as important, and I am deeply concerned about the riverfront and wetlands protection. But there are other issues besides that that come into parking in front of the building for a project this size that the neighborhood has concerns about that will be raised at the planning board. So to say it's not purely the wetlands requirements, and if it requires shifting the building around, if it requires smaller building footprint, that's what you have to do to make a project work on a site. You have to meet all the requirements. It's not that the zoning bylaw trumps conservation, nor that conservation trumps the zoning bylaw. And the requirement is for the parking in back, and that's a requirement. Yes, they can get a waiver, but there has to be a hearing where the neighbors and other people get to weigh the pros and cons, and it's not clear cut. And if they don't have enough room to put something because the parking has to go in back, then they need to do whatever you need to do to make a project fit the lot that you have to work with. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to continue this until the 14th.
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbara
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Passmano.
Yes.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
All right, so we have a 720 proposed conservation land use regulations per section 43-2 of the South Road Town Code.
Yes, so these are the land use rules that we have been discussing the last couple months. We sent the Breakneck Hill ones to stewardship. They suggested some revisions to kind of like what Mark had also suggested for the general ones for, use and approval by would be, allowed during certain things. And sorry, I don't know about you, but I see a frozen camera and it won't go. And so I made those changes. We've incorporated a town bylaw requires any new regulations promulgated by boards and committees to be posted as a public hearing with the town clerk. So we've done that appropriately. We posted it with the agenda and put it on our website. I do see that Joyce is here. If you guys have any questions on behalf of stewardship, Kevin is also our representative. But their comments were incorporated, and like any other regulations that we have, these can be amended at any of our public meetings. So if there's something that needs to be changed, I was talking with Freddie the other day, and she mentioned looking into the possibility of possible fines for light trespass from certain properties onto Breakneck, and if that's an opportunity. So I'm going to continue to look into that. And if it is possible and something that the commission and stewardship is interested, it can always be added in at a later date and doesn't negate the rules that would already exist and doesn't exempt us from amending them in the future. So I do recommend you guys accept these land use rules. So we can get them up, especially if we have issues with a neighbor this year. We have a little bit more teeth to try and get them to stop mowing a substantial portion of town property.
So you mentioned something about, did you say light?
Light, yes.
Like flashlight, like that light? Or-
No, like office lights, parking lot lights,
Okay, you did mean that. Okay.
spotlights, things like, yeah. So
Oh,
not,
okay.
yeah, not people trapezing around at night, although that's not great either, I guess.
Like spotlights, flashlights, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, right. Coming
Okay.
from abutting properties,
Yeah, okay.
things like that. So would it be in violation of our lighting bylaw as well too? So it's not in conflict with that. So I'll look and dig a little bit into that and see what I can come back with, if it's something that we can incorporate, or if it's just something that we make into a process if we're interested in relaying it to the appropriate party, aka the zoning enforcement officer, and it goes that route. So I'll report back on that. But as of now, if you guys are comfortable, I'd love to get these land use regs codified and yeah, because we always have the opportunity to change them if we find a new issue arise.
Right, there's any conversation from the Conservation Commission?
I just wanted to thank Melissa for incorporating stewardship changes. And I checked, they're all there, so they look great. So I'm happy with the way these all turned out.
Thank you.
Anybody from the attendees, public?
Not seeing any hands.
No, me either. All right, so a motion is appropriate. Do we hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbara Yaglowski,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasmano.
Yes,
Awesome. Thank you guys.
sure thing. Nice job.
Good to have them done. Good to have them on the books. All right.
Okay. 250 Turnpike 40B update.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn a brief update over to Laura, just as she gets situated. The ZBA did close the public hearing for 250 Turnpike Road. They haven't issued a decision yet. It's still in draft form, so I'll let Laura go over some timelines and some things that the board and the applicant have discussed in terms of conditions that involve the commission and what we had brought up in our comment letters.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So I'll keep it hopefully really brief. As Melissa said, the zoning board closed the public hearing for the 40B project at 250 Turnpike Road. They did that at their last meeting on April 15th. They are scheduled to deliberate the decision next week, May 6th, at their next meeting. The decision is very much in draft form. It's currently with town council. We do have a deadline to file that decision, and our current deadline for that is May 25th, unless the applicant agrees to extend that. So we will see kind of where we're at next week, but hopefully by the end of May, we'll have it filed. We discussed a lot of conditions at our last meeting, many that were included in the letter from you guys and Melissa and from Lucas Environmental and our other peer reviewers, the planning board. There was a lot of overlap between all the letters, which I think was really helpful. So first of all, I want to say thank you to you guys for submitting that. That was really helpful for the board. A few things that we talked about, and I just want to lead with the caveat that things could change because there still needs to be a lot of deliberation, discussion, and a vote. But some things that we talked about that the applicant was open to including as conditions or, said that they would accept as conditions are things, like the invasive species management plan for the site, Cape Cod or sloped granite curbing. They did agree to put the grate back into that wildlife tunnel, which is great. I think there was a little misunderstanding between our peer reviewers, between the civil engineering and the wetlands. So we kind of hashed that out, and we will be putting the grate back in. The applicant agreed to some wildlife fencing, a buffer zone mitigation planting plan with, accurate scaling and some additional habitat mitigation. They did also discuss, your recommendation that they put in some permanent demarcation along the limit of work within that 20-foot buffer zone. So hopefully that will be a final condition. The applicant did seem really open to that as well, which was good. And then one thing is that Lucas Environmental had proposed a condition that we include all mitigation that the applicant discussed in their vernal pool study back from, I want to say it was last year, which for the most part includes everything I already mentioned, but some additional habitat mitigation like nest boxes and some coarse woody debris. But other than that, I think we're also going to potentially condition some additional information on stormwater that our civil engineer was requesting. I think those are the high points. If there is an approval, there's going to be many conditions. There's a lot of kind of tweaks that they need to make to the final site plans, and some, small pieces of information I think that we're missing, correct references and labels, such as labeling the vernal pool and the BVW, correct planting labels, things like that. So it's kind of a laundry list, but if you have questions, let me know.
Thank you. Yes, my ZBA guru. Mark, you're on mute if you had something to say.
Sorry, I said,
Mhm.
thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I just have a comment that I'm grateful for the extensive review that the ZBA put into this. And I think it's evidenced by the conditions that they're talking about. Just looking back a few years, we had a 40B proposed up at Park Central, where there were really very few conditions, and it was disappointing. So I'm grateful to see the time and effort put into this by the ZBA.
I like to give them a lot of credit, the ZBA as well. I think they've definitely taken an ear to a lot of the comments that, boards and committees and the public have sent from recent, past and applications, and they're trying their best to, take the information from the professionals in each department and make sure that they're addressed. So, I do hope that the public sees that as well too. I know, and Laura works really hard at trying to make sure everyone's comments are included and that information is communicated all across the board. I mean, the amount of work that Laura does just making sure that the public is aware of every single thing that comes in every direction is insane. So I always like to shout her out when I can as well. But thank you, Laura.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
And then in terms of everything else, there's not that much going on in terms of construction around town. I've sent a few emails and phone calls out about just like the Eversource work on Route 9 in Corderville, where they have all those compost tubes and wattles still out, and they're just all broken, and they're providing no benefit one way or another. So it'd be great to have those removed. So I've been trying to work on that. I did talk with the property owners of 241, 245 Turnpike Road, the old Andreas that they demoed. That was going to be the car condos. They let Carnova next door park some vehicles there temporarily. So I had a great Zoom meeting with them last week and discussed kind of what they needed to do to come into some partial compliance in terms of this temporary status of the project if they're not going into construction or if the project is changing. So, I gave them a little bit of time to work with Carnova if that's going to be a temporary thing. I think part of it is they just want to recoup some money. It's just been sitting there. They didn't expect kind of things to take this turn. So still trying to figure out what to do with the property. So talked about the back needs to be stabilized. Pretty much everything in the buffer zone needs some, whether it's hydro seed they want to put down. And if they are going to put cars there, they should be on the Route 9 side. They definitely should not be on the back side where that stream is. So they are trying to figure that out. They've been talking with their contractor and working out just a temporary stabilization plan until they decide if they're going to move forward with the current project, change the project, or sell the property. So trying to work with them and moving that forward. And then, yeah, everything else is kind of projects that I know have been finished, but we don't have COCs. So following up with them and reminding them of their requirements. There are a lot of houses coming on the market in Southborough, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a small surge of COC requests as we usually do. But on the application front, it's been kind of quiet. So we're just trying to do a little bit of backlog, trying to figure out what our next project is, and go from there.
Melissa, I noticed that at the corner of Mount Vickery and Cordova Road, Route 85, a little triangle lot there where we have monitoring wells.
Yeah,
There's some trees being cut down.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what's up with that.
When was that? Do you know? Or-
Last couple days.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll follow up with that. I'll see if the same person still owns it.
It used to be owned by Gulbenkian. I don't know if it still is or not.
No, they sold it. Yeah, because I think a couple years ago, yeah, we tried to have an application and they ended up withdrawing it because we realized it couldn't be done. So
Is it the neighbor? I don't really know, but
no, it was just some other person who they sold it for a decent amount of money and they purchased it for a decent amount of money, but I think they didn't realize the history of it and what they couldn't do with it. So I'm curious if someone else finally bought it, or if it's still the same person that tried to put a house on it a couple years ago. So
yeah, I don't know. But there's some tree cuttings going on.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Cordova.
I was going to send you a text about it, but I figured I'd just bring it up tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
I noticed it yesterday.
Okay. Just trying to think. I thought I was done there. All right. And it's within the lot. It's like not along the roadway or anything.
It's within the law, yeah.
Okay, that's surprising. All right.
So
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. And then otherwise, I will be on vacation for our next meeting, so Laura will be your fearless leader. I will also be out June 15th to 19th, but I'll be around. We just have some friends coming in for the week, so we're gonna just spend some time with them, but I'll be around for that one. For May, I probably won't be available. I'll be on the boat in the middle of the ocean, so that may not be the best way to contact me, but Laura is definitely there in case you need anything.
does that
But
mean you're going on a
other than
cruise?
going on a cruise, I have a family wedding, so
Oh, nice.
I am taking my grandmother with me so she can go. So it's gonna be a tough couple days and a lot of travel, but it'll be good.
Yeah, nice.
So I had to
Enjoy.
keep my title as reigning grandchild. So I'd go to Orlando and then drive to Miami and then do it the other way around. So it'll be
You
fun.
gotta fly to Orlando and drive to Miami?
Yep. My grandmother lives in Orlando and
That's not
we're
a short drive,
moving-
you know that, right?
I know. Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
If
fun.
you've ever done that drive before, it's not a fun drive either.
I used to drive to Pennsylvania all the time, so I'm ready. I'm good. I'm good. It can't be that
You know,
much
down
worse
that Florida
than going
Turnpike
through
is
the
not
north.
fun.
Oh, okay. It's fine. It's gonna be
There's not much
great.
to look at.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. No, but I don't want to jinx it, but it has been pretty quiet. We have no new applications for the next meeting. So I don't expect it to be crazy. But hopefully we can get those revised docs for Southville. We can get those to Lucas. I did finally get the peer review check for the stormwater, so that can start as well, and then away we go. But yeah, if you guys see anything out in town, let me know. It's yeah, I don't know. It's driving
Okay.
time, drive around with the windows down.
One question I have, do you know when they're gonna be done this power line work along the aqueduct?
Power line work. I think the end of the summer is what
Oh, it's
they're
going that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
They Yeah, I'm trying to, I'll look and see what the last updated schedule is, but yeah, it was gonna take a couple more months.
Yeah, at some point, the rest of the country is going to need swamp mats, and we're going to have to send them out. It's just incredible.
I know.
Trailer
I've
truck
never
after trailer
seen-
truck after trailer truck.
There are
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
thousands here in town. It's something. It's really something.
like hundreds of thousands. Like it's baffling. And if you look at the Northborough Road substation, where you know that's like one end terminus point basically, but where they have like the last swamp mats, it's about like 20 feet deep of swamp mats because
Well,
of the
yeah.
divot. So I was like, oh,
Looking from Cordoville Road to the east as you go across the reservoir, there's another area where it's like 300 feet long, and it's 10 or 12 swamp mats deep the entire way. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen anything like it. But hey,
I-
when they take them back out, the amount of protection that it's given to the land is amazing. It's so God bless them for doing it.
yeah. I mean, I've been very surprised because, you know, I thought there was going to be, oh my God, what are they doing to this town? And like, you know, there's these things everywhere. I've gotten more calls saying these are staying, right? Like these are great. No, they're temporary. And I'm like, well, we could ride our bikes on
Boardwalk,
them.
right?
Yeah, exactly. They think it's a, you know, glorified boardwalk. And I was like, no, like, please be careful. Like, it's just, but it's not the outcry that I was expecting for such a big project, visible project like
Yeah.
that.
It's end to end.
Yeah, literally end to end.
Okay, that's a wrap. Do you hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Liz. Let's go.
She even came on camera for that.
Yeah.
Zulik,
All in favor?
Yes.
Stansbury,
Yes.
Barbary,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Asmato.
Yes. Good night, all.
Good night.
A
See you on the
wonderful
14th.
night.
Bye.
Have fun on vacation.
Thank you.
Bye.